All right, guys, I wanted to remake a video of how to troubleshoot some of the stuff in this class. So if I go into the drive that I made for our lab, you can go to the DANC 241 troubleshooting doc, and it will look something like this. So on the left-hand side, there is an easy navigation bar. You can see that any troubleshooting you have with your lab reports. I've included links to a live script template if you want to work out of MATLAB. I've also included a Word doc version if you like working out of Word better. I still think you will have to use MATLAB regardless for your calculations, but if you want to transfer tables and all of your data and stuff into a Word document, I'm totally fine with that. And then you can export it as a PDF to submit to Moodle when you are ready. So these are available for you to use. I also have a help video link. You can skip to 10 minutes in to see how you would actually use the live script template in MATLAB, if that's what you're choosing to use. But both of these have built-in headings so that this type of navigation pane should pop up in both Word and Google Docs. In the live script, they would be headings within the script. So if you wanted to insert a table of contents, they're already ready for you. Okay, and these are just general layouts. For the most part, each lab is going to be a little bit different, so the way that you write your lab report might change. But that's a section on lab reports. I have another section on the software. So we have the 2D camera calibration software, the Kapit2MATLAB software, and then we have two more softwares that are going to be used in the coming weeks. So I'll probably add information on those as we get there. But the first thing that you need to have access to is MATLAB. So there are two different MATLAB versions. We have the desktop version, which is free through the Campus IT website. So this is hyperlinked to the IT website, and from there you have instructions on how to install MATLAB on your computer. So this would be if you wanted the actual application in your computer. This class is actually built more compatibly with the online version. A lot of the software has been written specifically for the online version, and this is free to set up with your campus email. So this is a hyperlink to the MathWorks website, and it should give you an option if you're a new user to create an account with your student email. And so I have a small set of instructions on how to create an account. Different bookmarks that I suggest you save, and these are the websites that should take you to different locations, but I have them saved in my bookmarks in Google Chrome. And the first one is the MATLAB drive. This is more or less like OneDrive when you're using your Microsoft apps. So you can compress things, or not compress things, you can organize things into folders and further categorize stuff by lab. You'll be uploading homework as well. So if you wanted to make a DANC 241 lab folder and a DANC 241 homework folder, it's however makes sense to you. Okay, so that was my cat sneezing. I'm so sorry. So this is your MATLAB drive. Okay, when you open MATLAB online, and I will clear my workspace. When you use MATLAB online, it is going to be directly pulling from the MATLAB drive. So anytime you need to open files, you have to make sure that those files have been drug into the MATLAB drive before you can expect them to be read into the actual script that you're working on. So when you open the online version, you should notice that the pathway just has MATLAB drive. And within that, you should be able to see different apps that are located, or not apps, you should be able to see the different folders that you have within your drive. So there's a couple of ways that you can add folders to your pathway. Your pathway is basically what is in this bar up here, okay? So we can look into our drive by seeing which folders we want, or which folders we have, and we can click the one that we want to add to the pathway by using this drop-down menu. We can also add items to the pathway by double-clicking on them. Right, you can see it's been added to my pathway. I can also add folders, so you can see that some of these are opaque versus kind of clear. I can add these different folders by right-clicking and then add to path, selected folders or selected folders and subfolders. So then you can see that this becomes colored, and basically it will allow me to pull from anything that is located in these different folders. So if you have a lot of stuff in each folder, it might be wise to just double click or add them to the pathway up in the bar, and then further open up different folders if they are of value to you in any way. And then any data that is within those folders within this identified pathway is how MATLAB will be able to recognize what files to open when you want things to open. Okay. So that's kind of a quick rundown of where we go and some important bookmarks that you might want to keep handy. I also have some notes on how to get to MATLAB Drive and MATLAB Online through your account on the MathWorks website. So this is a hyperlink to this MathWorks website. And if you click on the icon that has your initials in it, it should bring up different application options. If you click on this grid over here. If you click on your name, it'll take you to your account settings. You can also get to both of these resources through that page as well. So the software. The software for this class is incredibly smart and super useful in a two-dimensional space. However, it is not the most intuitive to understand, thus the videos. So on Moodle, you will find through the home page that if you go to Resources and scroll down to these DANC 241 MATLAB online apps, this is the list of apps that are in this folder. So if we click on the folder, it should give us some instructions. We want to download all of these. Okay, so analyze 2D motion, calibrate, app manager, which is pretty much supposed to be used just to erase any existing apps, Kapit2MATLAB, and then motion capture. The analyze 2D motion and the motion capture are ones that we'll be using later in the semester. And so those two will have separate videos likely. But you can see that all of these installation files have now been put into basically my downloads folder. Okay, so what I can do with this is I can go to MATLAB Online. And if I just want to be in my MATLAB drive and drag all of those downloaded installation packages into my MATLAB. So currently I actually have a folder for this in MATLAB. It's 241 apps. And I'll just go ahead and delete all of these so that we can go through the process together. But I would go to my downloads folder and I would take all of these newly downloaded installation packages and drag them into the current folder. And then once they're uploaded, we can press OK. And then from here, we're going to go to Apps. The first app we want to install is going to be in our MATLAB drive. I have an extra folder, so I'm going to go to that. And we want to do the 241 App Manager. So once we launch this, it will basically get rid of, so right here, right? If I click on that, it basically gets rid of any existing apps that have been manually inserted. As at the end of that process, you can also see it deleted itself. So once you run that one, you should get confirmation code that all of the existing applications were deleted, and then you can just go ahead and get rid of that in your folder so that you don't accidentally run it again. I'm just going to keep mine there because I like to have all of the apps in here. But the first application that's going to be quite heavily used is our 2D camera calibration. So that is right here. On the Moodle homepage, again, I kind of just give instructions on how to actually get to the installation package. But this software is primarily going to be functioning to tell you how much space you need to capture your whole body in a given space that is largely defined by your image sensor size and your camera. So I have a separate video kind of going through the calibration steps. This, for the most part, is the same, but this was with an older version of the installation package. So this is technically going to be on the desktop, and now you'll be able to find it in the online MATLAB application, but also it runs a lot faster. One thing I do want to mention, though, is that in this supplemental video, you have to download and print the checkerboard that's also located in our drive folder, and you need to place that checkerboard on a hard surface, which is not shown in the video. So I recommend placing the checkerboard on a book, or if you have a binder, but something that can keep the edges of the pages at a fixed distance from each other. Okay, so back in MATLAB, we can go ahead and install this app. Okay, and so I want the Calibrate Single 2D Camera. I can install this, and you will see it pops up here. So if I launch this software, generally, just click things once and see how it goes. But generally, you're going to get this window that pops up, and the first thing you want to click on is Generate Calibration Images. Now, if I would recommend just redoing your images every single time, just for consistency. But when you click on this, it should pop up an option to select where you want to store your images. So I have mine stored in 2D camera calibration. And then it'll search for a camera. I've got my checkerboard on a hard surface ready to go. And then pretty much I'm just going to stick the checkerboard in the view of the camera. It'll give a prompt on when the picture is going to be taken, right? And notice like my movements are opposite of what's seen. So you kind of have to maybe do a couple practice runs and get used to it. But you can move close to the camera, far away from the camera, right? Generally, you just want to make sure that the paper is taking up a large portion of the screen, okay? But the more views that you give the camera, kind of the better that your calibration images will turn out. Okay, so we can kind of goes through this whole process. Woo! There's 2 more photos, and then pretty much after that, you can follow the steps that are in the other video. So we could click OK. And then the other video goes through this process of measuring your space, which I'm not going to do in this video. So you can skip over that one if you're unsure how to calibrate your space and understand the outputs of this program. Okay, so that's our calibration software. The Kapit2MATLAB software is what you're going to use to upload your Kapit and Elson coloring book homework pages. Okay, so I've prematurely also made a video link for this that shows you how to basically do this upload into MATLAB. Again, it was an older version of the software, so I'll show it for an example just in case. But pretty much it shows you how to use different applications to create images. I like the Adobe Scan app personally. You can also use Notes if you have an iPhone to scan documents. But the thing that I like about the 2 of these applications is that they will auto light your picture. So if you're in a dark room, or even if you have a lot of shadows, they automatically have lighting settings that will eliminate shadows so your pictures come out nice and clear. But I show you how to do that in here. Obviously, if you don't want another app on your phone, you can always just take a picture with your phone and be done with it. You do want to save your photos somewhere that you are able to easily locate. So in my case, I have them in a class folder on my desktop, okay? But we need to install this Kapit2MATLAB app first. So I can locate that in my drive. I'll go ahead and click install, and you can see it has been added.
So then what I want to do is launch the software. So if I click on the app, it'll ask me to select the directory where my images are stored. So I can go to my MATLAB drive, 241, Kapit homework, open. And then it should recognize that I have 9 images stored in that homework folder. And then it'll ask you if you want to display the imported images. You can choose yes or no. If you choose no, I think it just skips to the next step. If you want to make sure that your pictures look good, it'll bring up all of the images and you can review them this way. But after that, you can click OK. Indicate the export name, which should be your last name, your first name at least, and then I would put like the homework that it is. This is homework 1, for example. And then you can see it's going to say file exported to MATLAB drive, DANC 241, Kapit homework 1. So this is the pathway in which it's been saved in my drive. There are 2 ways I can locate this mat file. I can either click in the pathway and you can see this MATLAB folder has been created up at the top, or I can go into my MATLAB drive and again I have DANC 241, Kapit homework 1, and you can see that this file has been created. You can also see that the size is nice and small, so it should easily be able to upload to Moodle. There we go. I have found that the upload does work better with JPEGs versus PNG files, which is something I originally had, and then they wouldn't, like the program froze. So just for smoothness of everything running, I would probably recommend making sure that your files are in a JPEG format. But once you get this map file, what you can do is download it And then in Moodle, on the home page, there's an assignments link. Alternatively, you can just scroll to the week that the assignment is due. But in the assignments area, you should be able to pick the homework that you want to submit. And then my view is probably a little bit different than your guys's, but once you click in there, there should be some instructions on how to actually add the file. And you're going to be adding the MATLAB file. So that's in my downloads. That's this one here. Okay, so make sure it says .mat and that it has your name somewhere attached to it.